when you look at the reviews for Sound of Freedom, the one that stuck out to me was the one I have in the thumbnail there. That they said Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms or fathers with brain worms. And it's been said in some other channels that look, this isn't a matter of people not being allowed to not like this movie. Okay, it's about a really important subject matter that deserves to get in the news, and we deserve to spend some time on it and educate people about human trafficking. It's a real horrible issue, and people need to be more educated about it so we can fight it. But that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to like a film that was made about it, right? If a reviewer said, look, this is, for such an important issue that people really do need to learn more about, it is a shame that the movie was, not quite up to snuff artistically or something like that. I mean, you can have a legitimate, I haven't seen the movie, but you could have, a legitimate poor assessment of its art or something like that. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing people throw around in their reviews, and these are not just people's local blogs or little YouTube channels. These are the Rolling Stone was the one magazine that I'm taking this specific review from. Talking about it's QAnon adjacent and it's all this kind of stuff. They're mad about the philosophies in the movie. They're mad that the movie is linked to philosophies, and so they're trying to tear the movie down. They're trying to fight against it. And as others have pointed out, they're mad because society and culture is no longer just shutting up and listening and doing what they're told anymore. People are boycotting these things that are going woke, and people are not just being good little, sheep anymore, in some degrees anyway. So that's all true. But that one review made me look through and read that, it's a superhero movie with for dads with brain worms. There's so much in that line, just even that title, not to mention the review itself, but there's so much in that title that speaks to the problems with these people, with the woke, and what they are terrified about, what they can't stand. First of all, I should say that I've read the other reviews too, and it's not just this one review. They all kind of have this opinion. They all have this problem with these specific things that the movie highlights or presents in a positive light that they don't want presented in any kind of positive light. So let's just take the title of that one review. It's a movie, and this sentence is said in a derisive way. It's a superhero movie for dads with brain worms. All right, first of all, superhero movie. All right, there's a little bit of an intrinsic criticism of that, right? That superhero movies are only valid if they're pushing an agenda. If they are starring Brie Larson or a trans person or whatever, unless it's one of their new woke superhero movies, then the superhero. And I'm going to go into this for a second, well before we even get to dads, because this is true. I do my scholarship on the hero's journey and the archetypes and whatnot, and scholars hate the hero's journey. They absolutely hate it because the academic world, when it comes to the humanities, is no longer about, I've said this before, higher education and literature is not even remotely about trying to understand at a higher education level literature. No, it's about using literature as a tool for one of 2 or 3 approved political activisms. That's all that's about. That's all art history is about anymore, is using art as a tool for political activism. Whether that's you can choose your feminist, or I guess gender studies is what it would be now, trans or whatever. Your queer theory, it's called, which I don't know how much that plays into gender theory and all that stuff as well. Your Marxist theory, your post-colonial theory, they're all the woke themes and woke philosophies there. And those are the only ones that you can ever hope to really do work in if you want to get a good, solid, remotely tenured path job in higher academia. Because higher academia is not about education. It's not about education about actual art. It's about training activists. That's all it's about. So they don't like the hero's journey because the hero's journey, they look at it as predominantly male. Oh, it's so problematic, and they want to break free of that because they want to reorder reality, right? They want to tell you that you don't. What is their message is not go out and self-sacrifice. The woke's message is, no, you're fine just as you are. You're fine just as you are. Well, first make sure you've got some punches on your victim card. Then you're fine just as you are. As long as you've got some cred on the intersectional feminism scale, then you're fine just as you are. And anything that goes wrong in your world is somebody else's fault. And you need to just celebrate you. And if the doctor says that you're 200 pounds overweight and you're going to have heart problems, then that doctor needs to be canceled, because how intolerant are they? Right? I mean, that's the woke message. And the hero's journey is not about that. The hero's journey is the absolute opposite of that. The hero's journey is saying, I'm not good enough as I am, in terms of I need to learn things, I need to experience new things, I need to process what's happened to me, I need to gain things from my experiences. This is a basic life experience. And the hero's journey inspires us to that. And the hero's journey is the kernel of the superhero movie. Superhero is the hero's journey, more seminally than a lot of other genres or films. So they don't like that. They don't like that unless it's been deconstructed into their garbage, new woke superhero garbage stuff. So superhero movie for dads. Fatherhood, let's just say, even before we get to the next part, fatherhood is 100% on the kill list for these woke people. And you'll have certain people, no, I'm a progressive and I'm a dad and blah, blah, blah. No, fatherhood is on the kill list for these woke people. And in a way, it's because they're against masculinity in general. Fatherhood is intrinsic to genuine, authentic masculinity. And I don't mean to imply there that everybody needs to go have kids. No, not at all. But the kernel, the truth of fatherhood is to self-sacrifice and use your strength to protect others, right? Real manliness, real masculinity is being there to use your strength to protect others, use your strength to serve others. You don't have to have kids to be in a grocery store, say, and let's say you're in line and there's an elderly person in front of you, or some kids in front of you or whatever, they're part of some other family, and let's say a tile falls down from the ceiling. Well, if you're a man and you look at that tile and run away and let that tile hit that elderly person or let that tile hit that child, then yeah, go trade in your testicles, because that's not masculinity. That masculinity is protecting people and serving people and helping them, using your strength not to be a predator, to prey on people, but to respect them, to serve them, to protect them. And they don't like that. They don't like that at all. They don't want any kind of, because there's a intrinsic authority in that, right? To stand up and embrace one's masculinity and embrace that level of fatherhood intrinsic to masculinity, whether or not you have kids or not, is to say, I need to be able to decipher between what's objectively wrong and what's objectively right, right? I need to see that the lion about to attack the sheep is bad, right? Bad. You get that? That wasn't even on purpose. But not that the lion itself, is doing anything other than its nature, but you're there. The sheep's survival is good. And that lion preying on those sheep is bad, right? You have to be able to have it. You have a sense of authority and a sense of clear morality and conscience. Right is right, wrong is wrong. This is 100% against the woke progressive ideologues. That they want to infuse this new ideology that you, especially if you're a man, you sit down and shut up. You don't get to say anything unless you're a trans man or a minority man or this, unless you've got enough little, medals on your victim suit where you can maybe have a voice. But if you're an actual man, a cisgendered man, oh, you sit down and shut up and just learn how you're bad. That's because they don't want anybody telling you what's right or wrong or thinking for themselves what's right or wrong. They want to tell you what's right or wrong. They want to tell you that. So they don't like fatherhood. They don't like dads. They don't like authentic fatherhood, authentic masculinity, because it's also, as we can just say, it's tied to the hero's journey, right? In order to get out there and be the hero and cross that threshold and recognize a mentor and take some guidance and take that weapon that's special for you and overcome this threat, that it takes authentic masculinity in that form. A woman's got her hero's journey as well, and that's a different deal. But I'm talking about the man's journey right now. And they don't want that. They don't want superheroes, true superheroes. They don't want masculinity. They don't want fatherhood. They don't want that nonsense. Sound Engraver says for $2. I think your Sound Engraver says Sound of Freedom is taking their culture back. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're seeing with a lot of these boycotts and whatnot. Bud Light and Target and all this kind of stuff. I mean, on the one hand, poor little woke. It's been a rough summer for them. People stopped listening to them. Poor guys or gals. Or I'm sorry, don't assume their genders. Poor theys. It's people are enough with it. People are done. And so yeah, they're you know, they're like a wounded tiger. They're going to lash out in every way they can. And this movie is just they're going to sink their teeth into it as much as they can. Defendant Al-Qayan, thank you so much, said, I think it was C.S. Lewis who talked about how a good man needs to be a brute on the battlefield and a gentleman in the court. Just thought it fit here. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And I would be shocked if Jordan Peterson hadn't come across that quote, you know, because he famously talks about men need to have teeth. You know, you need to be able to be violent if a situation actually called for it. And the threat of violence is usually enough to avoid violence. But if there's no threat of violence, you know, it's like the stores that aren't allowed to prosecute or to stop shoplifters over a certain level anymore. Okay, get used to just everybody stealing from you then. That's the new culture. You know, and that's what happens in those cities where this ridiculous progressive ideology takes place and holds sway. So let's keep with our title there. So the superheroes, or it's a superhero movie for dads with earworms, or brainworms, I think it said brainworms. You know, trying to basically even further denigrate fatherhood. You're a silly father. You got brainworms if you actually believe that people are out there trying to prey on your kids. Don't think that people are trying to prey on your kids, because then that might make you vigilant and that might make you protect our kids. And then we don't want you protecting your kids from us, because we're coming for your kids, right? That's the woke chant. And it's 100% true. They weren't joking in any way about that in that stupid parade. They were absolutely letting it slip. They want your kids. They want your kids to be in public school, and they want the teachers to have all the rights, and parents shouldn't have any rights because we need to get to your kids. You stupid parents are being stubborn, and you're not listening to us, and you're not training your kids the way we want you to train them. So we need to exclude you from the picture, and we need to sink our teeth and our claws into your kids. So I don't think it's necessarily that every woke person doesn't want to go sell a child into human trafficking. It's not that they literally, we don't want to shine a light on this because we want to involve ourselves in that. I'm sure there are some, but no, that's not the case. Where we're really seeing this overall kickback in it is because they don't want parents hearing anything or watching anything that would make them a little more vigilant and protect their kids, because they want your kids. They need your kids. If they can exclude you from the picture, if they can let you die off and create a whole new generation that doesn't give them any lip about what they want to do, you know, that's it right there.